Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton. I am President and CEO of Archimedes Offspring. Thank you, Instagram, for being patient with us while we. So last week I was coming to you from Pittsburgh. Today I am in Boston, and meeting tonight at the Inventors Association of New England, and we will be at the MIT campus, so it's exciting. I am staying with my friends Bob and Evelyn Houseline, who've been gracious enough to host me the last few times I've been to Boston. And Bob has been the president of this group for 20 years, and he is handing it off now to George Peters, who is my partner, and that's kind of what I was getting to for you. So the topic today is, how do you wade through all the muck? I mean, every time I turn around, somebody else is writing a book about inventing. Somebody else is putting up a new website on teaching inventors how to do things. There is more junk out there than you could probably put into the back of a dump truck. So how do we get through some of the basics to give you a starting point? All right. First of all, do you really have it? I get so many inventors, a lot cheaper and a lot faster. So that's kind of the first thing you determine is, do you really have something? A lot of inventors do have something. Statistics tell us there's about 10 million of you out there who've had a legitimate aha moment and done nothing with it for one reason or another. So a lot of you do. And what we want to look at then is, so once you've decided, yes, you've got something, do as much looking around as you can. Understand understand the process. Now, this does not mean read a ton of books. It doesn't even mean buy one of those 500 pagers. All right. Time is not your friend here. So spending a year learning about the process, or even 3 months learning about the process, somebody else can file ahead of you. In fact, one of the guys, we were just working on his, and he goes, well, I found one of those other patents that was in the blind side of the USPTO, and I'm not really sure if I or not. Time is not your friend, so don't spend a year educating yourself. You can see your idea on the shelf. All right, so what's a good time frame? Spend a couple of weeks digging around. Learn what the USPTO database looks like. You'll appreciate having a professional search done once you know how can your idea be used in a different industry than what you're planning on. And that's the one thing that we see a lot of times is that, it may not be used exactly the way you envision it, but it's out there. And you're not going to be able to file a patent on that. So that's kind of the first thing, is do your own digging around. Take the blinders off. What would someone else call yours to Google it? That's the basics. All right. So once you've kind of looked around on Google, you go to the USPTO database, you take a little bit of a look around. You can do that done, send me an email. And instead of just sending it to me on Facebook and LinkedIn or on YouTube, here's my email address, rita@archimedesoffspring.com or rita@inventorlady. Phone number 303-910-8889 are the fastest way to get a hold of me. And then I'll send you back non-disclosure non-compete, and I'll say, here, use this whenever someone wants to ask you questions about what you're doing. For everybody else, it's same thing, one simple page. The other person you're talking to is not going to tell, and they're not going to compete against you. This is what you want. All right, so far, pretty straightforward. If you're going to hire a service provider, I will send you a work for hire, a sample of a work for hire agreement. This is where you lay out the scope. They cannot read your mind, and you cannot read theirs on expectations. When they say, I've got it, maybe not. So those are the early steps, pretty straightforward. The first thing you really spend money on is a comprehensive search, not just the one that you've done, but a comprehensive one. When we're helping people do it, it's $500. You can go to a registered patent attorney. That's going to be somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500, but I don't care where you go to get that comprehensive search done, as long as it's a comprehensive search that includes 3 sections. A search of the USPTO, a Google search for things that are in the blind spot, and an international search. Critical. All right, it doesn't matter whether you're planning on selling internationally or not. If it's been done somewhere in the world, you will not be granted a US patent. Infringing on somebody else, again, that's why we have the search done. But you don't need a patent to go to market. It is a good idea. And there's a book out there that says, oh, you don't need to file a patent on it. It's too expensive. Find somebody who wants to license it and make them pay for it. Does this sound right in your gut? I mean, does this really make sense, giving someone control over the intellectual property? You're the patent, and that means paying for it. If you have somebody else do it, they own it. Doesn't that make sense? Come on, think seriously about this. If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably not true. And that one is definitely not true. The other one that goes right along with it is file a provisional and then have the licensee file the rest of it. Again, you never give up control of the intellectual property. That is the only thing that gives you any leverage. All right. Last thing you want is a licensee that doesn't live up to their end of the bargain and they've got their name on the patent. Come on. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not a good idea. All right. You always control your intellectual property. And again, ask yourself, does this sound right? If it doesn't sound right in your gut, it's probably not right. There's some common sense there. Okay. So now you decide. It's not about whether or not should you file a patent. It's about, can you file a patent at this point? All right. You want to decide, can you? And you decide, should you? All right. And some inventors say, no, there's too much out there. I'm just going to make these in my basement and sell them. That's fine. You have been making business decisions. Okay. So now we get from, oh, yeah, there is something here. You do have a good idea. You do have that aha moment and you could file a patent on it. All right. Most inventors these days hurry up and get the provisional filed simply because time is not your friend here. The last thing you want to do is find out that while you were monkeying around trying to do a prototype, somebody else filed a provisional ahead of you. All right. So get the provisional filed. Then we go into development stage. And Archimedes Offspring is there to guide you through these steps. We're protecting you because we're protecting the investor's money. It does not get better than that. The investors are going to pay for the steps. All right. And in doing that, all right, protecting you, protecting them. It all works so nicely together. So one of the talks, I think it's next Monday, is about leverage. But the other one that we're going to talk about this week is return on investment. Both of those are important to you, the inventor, as we go through these steps. And I appreciated the gentleman. He says, you make it sound so easy. That's our job here at AOS on the mentoring side, is to clarify the steps for you, to make sure that you understand what comes next. There is nobody that does it all for you. It's a step by step. That's what we're good at. All right. That's why we are in your sandbox. We're on your team. We are a team. We're going to work it together. We're going to help you clarify different choices, resources.